Hi. Probably the most asked question of all is, what's the purpose of life? A vast variety of answers is offered. Some say that the meaning of life is in service through surrender of the self and self-sacrifice. Others that the meaning of life lies in delight and enjoyment before death takes it away. Some contend that life is about preparing for the eternal life beyond the grave, others that its purpose is the approach to non-existence. Many claim that the meaning of life is developing and organizing life on earth, and there are those who assert that it's impossible to know the meaning of life. You have heard this all, haven't you? One thing strikes me hard as I ponder these different conceptions of the meaning of life. All these schools of thought endeavor to ascertain the meaning of life outside of life itself. Now, if one thinks deeply, one would find that the meaning of life is not to be found outside of life. Shakespeare rightly explained that ripeness is all, or as John Keats regarded it, this world is a vale of soul making. Which means that personal perfection is in each individual's own hands. In order to master life's forces and harness them to greater purpose, we must cultivate our ability to concentrate. So how do we do it? Well, we begin by muting our involuntary psychic activity, the continual friction of thinking, feeling, and acting. The productivity of our intellectual apparatus depends more than anything else on how we use our energy. We must guard against using our energy like the blind scorpion that stings every object it comes across. That brings me to meditation, which harnesses concentration. Nothing helps more than meditation in integrating a man into a significant whole. Meditation liberates us from mindless thinking and takes us from one level of life to another. Descending within ourselves, we discover the wealth of mindfulness that lies buried under our mechanical ways of regarding things. So look, you need to understand that the typical notion of the distinction between head and heart or intellect and emotions creates a lot of confusion. In fact, that's baloney, if I may. No psychological state is exclusively intellectual or emotional. No. In a state of conflict, it's only one emotion that triumphs over another emotion. It's never intellect over emotion or vice versa. Remember this. So emotion is the experienced state of being that helps us realize our ideas. All emotions assist knowledge. For example, without experiencing the emotion of love, we can never understand how a mother feels for her child. Or without experiencing devotion that liberates us from fear and self, we can't hope to understand how the personal element can be detached in enhancing consciousness and the power of emotions. On the contrary, the more the personal elements dominate emotional life, the higher the possibility of delusion. So the value of an emotion lies in the idea it realizes. All contemplation and concentration on a movement of thought that enables the ego to move within is an act of prayer. A solely ceremonial bowing before an invisible power can be described as an act of prayer. Our faith, if we have one, must manifest itself in the living experience of reverence before all that is great and good in our universe. Awe inspired by understanding is much more valuable than awe in ignorance, right? This cautions us to be precise in our nature of belief. Belief is an essential part of human life, and it's impossible to conceive of a normal person who doesn't believe in something. A genuine person's outward behavior is a complete reflection of that belief. So belief is an occurrence of finite consciousness, for infinite consciousness has everything visible to it and thus doesn't need to believe. We all have finite consciousness. Similarly, a theory is not a belief and can only be transformed into a belief by a mind with a certain attitude towards it. Theory is the academic attitude of the human mind towards a subject based on established knowledge about it. It's open to both further development and correction. On the other hand, one may believe in something without taking it to be theoretically true. How, you may say, for example, some people know there are no evil spirits that are responsible for their misery, but yet they believe in amulets that promise to chase such spirits away. That's so because belief arises from the depth of our being. However, for a rational mind, the spirit of questioning is awake and no belief is admitted without being backed by a theoretical explanation. Rational people are reluctant to relapse into primitive modes of approaching the ideal. They want to march forward in the way of knowledge by thinking, contemplating, questioning, and evaluating their thoughts in a logical manner before they start forming a belief. Therefore, it's not the unfounded powers of primeval belief, but the forces of a well-spoken intellectual mind that can help us on our path. Modern man's heart of awareness lies not in blindly accepting any way of life, but in understanding. A fusion of reflection and meditation leads us to deep insight. Intellect and not intuition is the instrument of our perception. A richer awareness of our status and destiny is what helps our evolution, our growth. The times for blind belief in and adherence to an unintelligent philosophy of life are long gone. Rationality in thought and meditation is the determinant factor. Modern knowledge about the human personality further emphasizes the value of meditation. The I, as the nucleus of conscious personality, represents only a thin slice. Consciousness of the sort we are directly aware of is not a very important determinant of our personality. It reflects it only casually and incidentally. It is the deepest layer of our personality that we share with each other and that accounts for our patterns of behavior. Our consciousness is merely the uppermost tip of the pyramid that is our cognitive life. Meditation helps us to exploit our consciousness to reach the innermost depths of our personality, which form the common denominator of human life. It's from this common reservoir that great minds and great acts draw nourishment and inspiration. This probably is the reason why Newton and Leibniz discovered calculus at around the same time. Darwin, Herbert Spencer, and Lamarck discovered the law of biological evolution almost contemporaneously. And 20th century psychologists Freud, Jung, and Adler broke new ground in the fields of psychoanalysis and analytic psychology more or less concurrently. So this phenomenon of simultaneous discoveries by different individuals working in different places and circumstances is explained by the fact that each of us is rooted in the same basic cognitive soil, where new ideas are washed ashore with time by the waves and the ocean of collective humanity. The emergence of these ideas is like a fish in water that's caught by those who lie in wait. Great thinkers in a state of perpetual watchfulness are able to identify and elucidate these ideas in the language of their time because they are in intimacy with the deepest layers of their personality. So by letting their consciousness connect with the collective human consciousness, great thinkers let out contents that are trying to appear in the exhibition of time. This process is accelerated by meditation. The better we concentrate, the more sharply we perceive. At the peak of the powers of concentration and perception, a man becomes the voice of the spirit of his age, like Socrates, Leonardo, Shakespeare, GHALIB, Hafiz, Darwin, Newton, Einstein. Concentration can help any of us to integrate our personality into the full range of psychic contents instead of living on the surface of personality. And there is no better way, no better tool to harness and train concentration than meditation. Meditation helps us ponder over our unique role in the scheme of things and suck like an infant at the motherly bosom of the infinite. Meditation purifies our being in a world that is too full of corrupting influences and enticing temptations. Meditation helps us stay above the undignified taints of worldly intrigue. Meditation equips us to live serenely in the midst of day-to-day cacophony and nourishes our ability for growing at every opportunity. Through meditation, we enhance the process of our personal evolution and comprehend the meaning and worth of life more quickly. Whatever strengthens the forces of life also ensures moral progress. Now, how to meditate? What are the best ways of meditation? That'll be for probably our next video or another video because we've already taken enough time. But let me tell you that there are many ways to meditate which those of you who are interested can learn and follow. But in essence, all meditation consists in regulating consciousness to keep it in an unmoving state, complete mindfulness, complete oblivion of the self. For this purpose, some methods find it useful to focus on an external object like a candle or something. Some recommend focusing on an idea, and some other involve delving into the nothingness, just blanking your mind. But the truth is that in our busy life, every activity during the day, if you do it mindfully, exclusively, it can transform into meditation. It can transform into an exercise of mindfulness. More on this later, but for now, it is sure that undoubtedly meditation harnesses our power of concentration, which is the real engine of our cognitive mechanism. Thank you very much.